Okay, so this final video is going to go over the activities that are listed in our preschool fitness plan. This obviously is not all-inclusive. There's many more activities you could choose from, and you can use your creativity and alter all these activities to meet your needs. So the first activity is follow the leader or copy me. It's just as it sounds. The teacher or the leader will demonstrate various movements, drills, or locomotor patterns, and then ask the children to copy his or her movements. The next one is march in the parade. You can have the children form a line and march and move around the room in different ways, possibly add some dance-inspired moves or is kicking and swinging, or you can have the students pretend to play different musical instruments. This can be a great warm-up activity. Get locomotive. Basically, just have the children practice various locomotor skills. For example, marching, jogging, skipping, jumping, hopping on one foot, galloping with one foot in front of the other, leaping, pushing off of one foot, shuffling, crawling, etc. You can have them practice the movements backwards or sideways, so change the direction. You can change the speed, change the height, have them go low or high. And keep in mind, as I mentioned in that second video, that some movements may be challenging for this age group at first, especially things that require a little bit more fine motor skills, such as skipping. The locomotor train activity is when the students form a line, and then you can have the line leader or the instructor be the conductor and perform a specific movement. So the conductor sets the pace and the direction, and all the other children act as cars on the train, and they'll follow the conductor around the room. After a short period, the conductor can become the caboose, and the cars move up in line. An agility ladder or hopscotch. Now, you don't have to go out and buy an expensive agility ladder. Painter's tape works really great, or just use chalk, sidewalk chalk if you're outside. So you can actually draw a ladder or create a ladder on the floor or outside on the sidewalk. Then you can give the children different movement patterns and challenges to try while traveling along the ladder. For some reason, kids just really seem to get into this one, even though adults don't find it as intriguing. So you can have them jump in and out of the boxes or rectangles. You can have them zigzag, hop on one foot, try it backwards, try different directions, moving sideways. Really get creative with this one. You can also get creative by making a different type of ladder. In October, around Halloween time, I like to make a spider web and have them try different things throughout the web. And then one of my standby activities are animal walks, because there's so many different animals to choose from. So it's a favorite among many preschoolers that I've worked with. It's an easy go-to activity. Animal walks can be incorporated into many other activities or games as well, such as relays, freeze dance, and obstacle course. So you can pick a destination or a category for the day for your activity session, such as the farm, a jungle, circus, or rainforest. And with the children, sometimes I'll demonstrate the way to move like a certain animal, or most of the time I'll leave it up to their creativity. And oftentimes I will actually steal some of their really cool and unique ideas. Mirror Me is also a really fun activity to do in a group or in partners. So you can have them partner up with someone else, or you can act as the leader to start off. And if you could be the reflection in the mirror, or you could be looking in the mirror and everyone else could be the reflection. So the partner or the rest of the group copies every move that you make, and then after a short period you can switch roles. And then balance beam. Once again, you don't actually have to have a balance beam, although you could probably find an inexpensive way to create one for your facility. But if you're just at home, once again, painter's tape or sidewalk chalk works really well, and a little bit safer that way as well. You can have children practice different movements, so you can use different directions along the beam, different locomotor movements, and the beam could actually be traditionally straight, or you could have it curved or even zigzagged. So some more activities. Be a blank. Okay, so this could be, again, tied into a theme. You could select an animal, an object, a character, kind of like a little charades for the kids, and ask the students to move the way it would, whatever your character or thing is. Instruct the children to move like that thing or person in different ways, high, low, fast, slow, with different emotions such as angry, happy, scared, surprise. This helps enforce opposites as well. Balance challenges. Oh, these possibilities are endless. You can encourage children to try different poses or positions. Some examples: balancing on 2 feet, balance on 1 foot and 2 hands, balance on 1 foot and 1 hand, balance on 2 knees, balance on one knee and one foot, balance on two knees and two hands, and you can go on and on. You could use all different body parts, elbows, bottom, tummy. I often like to tie this into like a freeze dance, so when the music stops, I'll yell out a balance challenge for them. One of the favorites is bottoms only, so they have to sit on their bottom with their arms and legs up in the air. You could also, instead of listing specific body parts, say balance on 2 body parts, balance on 5 body parts. Helps work with their basic math skills as well. Story time. There's a great list of books actually that I'll share with you in the resources section that are really fun to act out with their bodies in using different movements as you read the story to them. Shapes. This is great again for balancing as well as stretching and getting the kids to think. You can encourage them to make their bodies into various forms such as objects, numbers, letters, or shapes. They can do this individually or with a partner or work together as a group. Exercise cards. I've developed many different sets of my own original exercise cards. So you could print things out from the computer or just use a set of index cards and write out a variety of different movements on a stack of index cards, and then each day or each time you use them, you could have the children select randomly or by choice a certain number of cards to perform. You could turn it into a game or have them develop their own game. They could also come up with their own set of cards. I've done that as an activity as well. Examples of movements that you could use are bear walk, Spider-Man walk, jumping jacks, star jumps, squat jumps, crab crawl, roll like a log, toe touches. I do plan to develop some video demonstrations of different movements you can use for preschoolers as well, which will be available on our YouTube channel, the 95210 YouTube channel. Flashcards. If you have flashcards available, as most preschool teachers probably have some alphabet and number cards, you can use these for activity sessions as well. Cards with shapes or animals work really well for movement activities. If you have enough, you could lay them out across the room and do a little musical freeze dance, and each student can step or stop on an animal, then have to move around the room like that animal. Jump rope challenges. If you don't currently have jump ropes, you can get inexpensive, cheap versions at the dollar store. They work really well. And obviously, you could do traditional jump roping. To introduce the preschoolers to the jump rope, I'll just have them flip the jump rope over their head and then step over the rope or jump over the rope and kind of break that into 2 steps. And with practice, they'll be able to start actually going through the traditional jump rope motion. But you could also lay the jump rope down on the floor and have the students move along the line, forward, backward, sideways, so just like you would with the balance beam. You could create different shapes with the line and then have them try different movements, curved, zigzag, zagged, etc. Or you could have them practice jumping over the line, forward, backward, sideways, 2 feet, 1 foot, high, low, you name it. Beanbag challenges. You can do lots of different activities with beanbags. If you don't have beanbags available to you, you can roll up some socks or baggies with rice or beans, or if you're handy with a sewing machine, they're very easy to make. You can use, again, any kind of dried goods such as rice or beans and then sew them into some extra fabric that you have lying around the house. So you can try different balancing and throwing activities. Some balancing ideas would be standing or moving with the beanbags on their heads, shoulders, or different body parts, the backs, the arms, the back of their hands. You could have them, move their limbs away from their body while moving the beanbag or walk around the room. You could also do some basic throwing skills, so you can practice overhand and underhand tossing at targets, such as paper plates, boxes, or buckets. If you have some cones handy, or plastic cups would be a great substitute, you can set them up around your activity area in a line or randomly, and students can practice weaving around the cones, jumping or leaping over them, or jumping from one cone to the next. Builders and bulldozers is a fun game. It can be a little bit challenging for the younger crew, but with some practice, it does get a little bit more efficient. So again, if you don't have cones, you could use cups, and then you could use small bags or bean bags for this activity. So traditionally, it's done with cones and a bean bag. You would split the group into 2 teams, or you could even have the adult or the teacher be one of the categories, builders or bulldozers, and the rest of the students be the other category. And basically, you're going to place a beanbag or the socks on each cone or cup. The goal of the bulldozers is to run around and knock as many of the beanbags or socks down as they can using their hands, gently placing it on the floor. And during that time, the builders are going to run around the room and put the beanbags or socks back on the cones. So you could set the clock for a minute or so, and when the minute's up, everybody freezes, and we see if the builders or the bulldozers were quicker. Another game is the popcorn game, and this one does work best with a group. You could use small balloons, you could use beach balls, bean bags, whatever you'd like as the popcorn. So you would designate a line across the middle of a room or an outside area, create 2 teams and split up, 1 team on each side. The object is to get as many popcorn pieces to the other side as possible during a set amount of time. That one can get a lot of fun. It's fun to have some music playing in the background as well. Simon Says is that, the good old traditional activity. It's really great for kids' listening skills as well. So you would, Simon gives the directions by stating Simon says. If the leader does not say Simon says first, then the group has to perform maybe a specific activity before rejoining the group, rather than having them sit out like the traditional game. Cat and mouse actually involves the use of a parachute, although you could use a sheet or something to substitute if you don't have a parachute in your program. So you have the students spread out, you have them sit around the parachute holding the edges. You would designate 1 student to be the cat and 1 to be the mouse. The cat sits in the center of the parachute and closes his or her eyes for a count of 5. The group can count together if you'd like. The other students start to wave their arms and make the parachute shake. And as they do that, the mouse crawls around underneath the moving parachute while the cat tries to tag gently with the little butterfly tag him or her. Squirrels and Chipmunks is another fun group game. So you split the group into 2 teams, squirrels and chipmunks, and you could change this up for a seasonal or a lesson theme and call them something else. I've done this with penguins and polar bears before. You split the activity in half with a taped or designated line, and then you dump beanbags or whatever you want to use, small balls as acorns, into the center. So each student can pick up only 1 acorn at a time and bring it back to their tree or their nest, and you can use a bucket or a box for that. When all the acorns have been taken from the center, the squirrels or the chipmunks can actually sneak acorns from the other team's tree so they can go across. And when the time is up, the 2 teams will see who has more acorns on their side or in their box. Indoor ice skating can actually be done with a pair of paper plates or even washcloths, depending on the surface of your floor. So washcloths work better on a smooth surface like a hardwood floor, and then paper plates work really well on a carpeted area. I actually use plastic furniture discs for indoor ice skating, and that can be a lot of fun. And then, of course, circuits and stations. Unlimited options with these. Students, once they are familiar with some of the other activities that I just mentioned, then you can set up stations. And it's really, like I said, unlimited with the options that you can use for this. And you can tie in the theme if you want, once again. So you could put index cards with pictures to help children remember what activity they should be doing at each spot if you don't have enough adults to man each station. Music can be played while the students are moving at their station, and when the music stops, they freeze, and then they move on to the next station in the order that you instructed them to do. So this one can take a little bit more instruction and works better with activities that they're already familiar with. So some sample lesson plans are available in the preschool manual that is available on our 95210 website. And here are some really useful resources that you may want to check out for additional activity ideas. American Council on Exercise has some great handouts, which I believe are listed on my next page here. American College of Sports Medicine has a lot of good family fitness information, and it's one of the gold standard industries for health and exercise. Head Start Body Start is a really great resource for preschool activity. We mentioned the guidelines in that first video from the National Association of Sport and Physical Education. PE Central provides teachers with some wonderful lesson plans, and they do have a free teacher's toolkit access. Even if you're not a current teacher, you can access the toolkit they have with monthly resources. Of course, the 95210 website has links to other resources I mentioned within these videos, and some other just fun sites here that you can check out. Now, on the Head Start Body Start, I mentioned there's some great resources. My most favorite go-to resource is the Get Moving Today activity calendar. They have a calendar listed for each month of the year, and they have different activities for every day of the month. And they have a version in English and in Spanish, so it can be very helpful for our community. Some additional handouts you may want to check out. These are available. These will be linked to the 95210 website. And these are just some of the references or sources that I use for today's, or for the preschool fitness program and manual. So that concludes the information. Feel free to contact the Manchester School Readiness Counselor or Sharon Cozy for more information about the 95210 program or for more ideas for preschool fitness. Thanks so much for listening in.